I'm so excited about today's video because it is the 12 laws of transformation that has transformed me, and it will transform you to make you almost unrecognizable. And I'm not just talking about physical. We're not, on this channel, we go way deeper than that. If you've been subscribed for a while, we go deep. We go to the spirit, the soul, everything else. It's going to transform you, make your life better, help your finances. Help your love life, your career, your spiritual life, and walk with God, your relationships, friendships, everything. It's just going to transform you. And I just know you guys are going to love it. But first, before we get into this, hey friend, welcome to my channel, Queen Illuminal Gems. This channel is dedicated to leveling up in all areas of your life. So let us learn together, read together, but most importantly, grow together. Now, without further ado, let's get into this video. So I'm going to hop right in and we're going to get into law 1 for me, which I have my notes here, which is stay silent. Okay, stay silent. Some things you do not need to talk about. We talk about that all the time. And I'm not just talking about moving in silence and doing all of these things, but pray, and keep it knit. You and God knows. And I'm not saying like if you have a spouse, you're married, of course, or whatever. But sometimes I know it's unfortunate. It's really, really unfortunate. But your spouse could probably be your biggest hater. It's unfortunate. Some people are married to their biggest op. Like the young people say, op, right? And not just that, who you think is your best friend, who you think is really close to you, may be your biggest hater. I believe people can love people and still hate on them. Like, how many people you've loved? You probably been there, done that. Let's be honest with ourselves, because that's what we do on this channel. You love them, but you get a little green with envy sometimes, and you're like, but you still love the person, but that happens. And this is what we work on in this channel and leveling up. And because that is possible, there's some things you have to pray and ask God, show me, should I speak about this to this person? If not, God, don't put it in your heart, keep it silent. Work on your plans in silence. We do a lot of book clubs here. We do a lot of talking, using real life examples from others, etc. And there's many people. I was just watching a movie that with Vivica Fox, I believe it's Summer in the City. Yeah, I believe the title is Summer in the City. It's a Hallmark movie. But how she was this designer. Vivica Fox was this wonderful designer in the movie, like drawing her sketches. She ended up having her own store, right? But she married a man that did not believe in what she was doing. And she was so in love. He convinced her that her designs were trash, they were ugly, she shouldn't pursue this, etc. And she actually gave up her dream of being a designer and just like, I'll just own a boutique and sell other people's designs, other people's clothes. And she had a high-end boutique selling, Prada, Gucci, whatever, Balenciaga clothes, but she was not selling her own products. And eventually it took her leaving him and having people around her that made her believe in herself again to really go and pursue her dream and give herself a fighting chance. And though that was a movie, that happens in real life. How many of you guys have a dream and the person closest to you is who snatches that dream away from you? And the dream is put in your heart for a reason. God gave you that dream, and the enemy likes to use people as vessels to come and crush that dream and make you not believe in yourself and make you believe that you won't succeed and to not pursue that path. All the while, God gave you that dream and put that dream in your heart. This is why I strongly believe you have to be silent and you cannot speak about certain things all the time without God's approval. It doesn't matter who you're married to. Marriage does not mean all of you 24/7, all the time. The person must know. Something must be between you and God. Comment below if you agree with that, or if you're like, sis, never, I don't agree with that. I wouldn't like my spouse to keep things from me, so I'm not keeping things from my spouse. But trust me, your first best friend should always be God, you and God, okay? And whatever you got going on, you and God, ask him for permission to speak before you speak. Number 2 is it's better to be quiet than to involve yourself in drama. That is going to level you up, okay? Why do I say this? A lot of times we are desperate to respond whenever we feel hurt, whenever things are happening. We always want to have our opinions, and opinions can land you into a lot of drama, unnecessary drama. The most mature of people, because they talk too much and they share their opinions too much, they may offend without even knowing. And you're nice, you're not looking for drama, but you talk so much, you give your opinion so much. And this is why I say silence. I don't mean to be mute everywhere you go and never talk, but be such a quiet person that you think about what you're going to say before you say it. Me, I have a YouTube channel, so by now y'all know I'm talkative, okay? It just comes with the territory. But one thing I know I struggled with was just talking a lot. Like in a room, I have to be a part of the conversation. I used to struggle with that so badly. But now in a room, I'm just more quiet. I'm letting everybody else talk, observe, and I'm slower to speak because when I was eager to talk and give my opinion, you go back home, you're like, did I say too much? Did I offend this person? That you overthink it. And 9 out of 10 times you find out, maybe even if it's years later, months later, weeks later, you probably did offend someone with your beliefs, your views, or how aggressively you went towards a topic, or you just said the wrong thing, you put your foot in the mouth. There's a Bible verse that said, with excess speech come great sin, or things like that. But the Bible even believes in bridling your tongue, watching, being cautious of what you say. There's power in the tongue also. It's better to avoid drama with people, to just speak as little as possible. And in a room, be the one that's listening and not the one that's always talking. Third is always strive to not be the smartest person in the room. Au contraire, if you find someone who is smarter than you, try not to compete with them. Try not to see them as a threat or anything like that, but instead align yourself with them and be like, wow, this person is so intelligent, so smart. What can I learn from them? Go learn from them, okay? If they have a book, go purchase the book. If they're giving lectures, listen and ask for advice, whatever you can do. But it is a sign of emotional immaturity to hate on people, be jealous of people that we deem is smarter than us. If someone is well-spoken, they're intellectual, you love how they structure their thoughts and stuff like that, go and learn from that person. Align yourself with that person. It is a rule of thumb that you cannot be the smartest person in your friend group. And people have to be intelligent in different areas of their life. I may be in my friend group the smartest person that knows how to do or put together a YouTube channel and run it or whatever. My other friends are not doing that right now, right? Or I may know a little bit more about finances because I worked in that field than my lawyer friend or my doctor friend or my nurse friend. And everybody has different levels of knowledge. You want to be in a diversified room, a room that is full of different expertise. You need a chef, that's a friend. You need a cop, that's a friend. You need you need a lawyer, you need a doctor friend. You need friends in different fields. You cannot be the main head honcho and everyone else, you feel is not up to par with you and stuff like that. Align yourself with those type of people because it's truly going to elevate you. You're going to have access to things you never even dreamed you could have access to because someone in the field has to connect. They have the plug. So you always have your plugs and then be a plug. Don't just take from people, but be a plug also. The same way they're pouring into you with their wealth of knowledge and wisdom, etc., pour into others also. But don't strive to be the only one in a group that. Fourth thing that I realize that levels you up is that, listen, you have to find a way to have your own outside of the job you're working. I'm not saying to quit your job, etc. Not everybody is a business owner. I've said this before in videos where people didn't agree, where I said not everyone's meant to have a business or run a business. Some people mentally they just cannot. It's too much, right? But you must strive to, while you're working, to always have a side hustle. Always have a side hustle. You can work for corporate. You can work wherever, but always have something you're doing on the side that has money because guess what? Your job doesn't care about you. Your job doesn't care about you. I used to work for corporate. I know when someone dies in the job, it's not even 24 hours and they're already finding out how they're going to replace you and putting out, waiting for employees to come for an interviews. I know. I used to work in those departments. So jobs do not care for you. They do not care for you. They do not care for you. So don't sacrifice yourself for your job. Don't give it your all and have nothing to fall back on. Anything can happen. People get laid off a lot. Look what happened in 2020. Lockdowns happened. A lot of people went without because they never had anything on the side. If 2020 taught you anything, it's to never get complacent in a job that you're at. Always have something on the side. Even if you're working, always have something on the side that you can be doing and really pray about it on what you can do. Read books, talk to people, find out what else can I do on the side. And who knows, that side hobby, that talent that you're pouring into might just become what takes you to the next level to where you don't even need to work for somebody else, okay? The next, which is 5, is you can create your own family. I know this sounds very crazy, but in past videos on this channel, I've done lots of videos for my people pleasers out there or people who struggle or come from toxic families. And we talk about this. So many of you guys struggle with this, where you come from homes where It wasn't the best idea, right? And a lot of times we feel stuck or trapped with certain people in our lives. And I'm telling you, you can create your own family. You don't have to be stuck in any situations. You can always get new friends. You can create your family. I'm not saying to completely dispose of everyone, but it's better the family that you create is sometimes more important than the family of blood that comes from blood. Like if you look at David and Jonathan, for instance, in the Bible, Jonathan loved David more than he loved himself, and David loved Jonathan more than he loved himself. They were not blood, they were not brothers, right? But Jonathan chose David and had loyalty to David over his own father. That friendship, that family bond he created with Jonathan was more important than the bond he had with his own father. Do you understand it? It didn't show that David was even that close to his own brothers. His own brothers didn't even see his importance or significance because he was just the shepherd out, while his brothers were seen as the big, strong guys. They actually mocked him when he thought he could go and kill Goliath, right? So David, it shows you how intimate his friendship was with Jonathan because it was mentioned they were really brothers. Like they cried and loved. People try to make it something that's not biblical also, but that was a family that they created, and that's in the Bible. And a friend, the Bible says there is a friend that sticks closer than a brother. That's a biblical verse. And I have friends that you wouldn't even know they're not blood. Okay. And that is a family you create, or whether the spouse you marry, your little family that you create, you don't have to feel like it's the end. And if you're young, you can't escape this family. You're still living with them, etc. There will be a time where you can create your own family. And the family that you create, the people you allow to be in your life, matters more than the ones that you come from. Next is stop taking counsel and advice from the world and everybody else. Everyone, listen, here's what I mean by this. Everyone is living for the very first time on this earth. I don't care if you believe in reincarnation and coming back. Even if you were reincarnated, do you remember your past life? I know there's going to be someone in the comments that says, yes, I do. Let's center ourselves for a minute. Let's be reasonable. Let's reason together, right? Yeah, I don't. You don't. I don't believe in reincarnation per se. I'm not knocking anyone who believes in those theories. For me and my belief and what's biblically sound for me is that this is our one life that we are living, and we're all living life for the very first time. Your parents were parents for the very first time when they had you. They didn't have a rule book or anything like that. You are whatever age you are for the very first time, and you're never going to reverse back and have this age again. You're never going to have 2024 again. Once 2024 is done, it's over. It's done. You can't go back to 2024. This is the last year you will live in 2024 ever. This is the last year. The remaining days, that's it. And the 2024 era is closed. Do you get what I'm saying? So because of this, because none of us are immortal and we have limited knowledge, we don't understand all of the cosmos and everything that's out there. We are limited, okay? So that very fact means that no one knows it all. Even me giving you advice, I don't know it all. I could be wrong about a lot of stuff. And I'm sure you guys will not hesitate to check me in the comments and be like, sis, I don't agree with this, blah, 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 blah. Especially my reincarnation people. But I'm just Kareem. I don't know everything. So even advice I'm giving you, take with a grain of salt and know that, hey, God knows what's best for me and I will know what's best for me. I cannot expect others to tell me what career path to go into. I cannot expect others to tell me who to marry. I cannot expect others to tell me where to live, how to live my life, because you don't know either. You're figuring it out just like everybody else. You've never lived completely before, died and relived again to come back and say, this is how you should do it. You're going based off of other people's experience and what they said and how things went for them. What someone's experience, like there's some people, you could get a advice that says, hey, don't marry a guy until at least 3 years that you guys are talking and know each other. While somebody else say, no, that's not necessary. I married my husband after 2 weeks of meeting him. I think Pearl Bailey married her husband after 2 days or 3 days or something like that. And they were together forever. This man worshipped the ground. She walked on. Yes, some people marry fast and the relationship doesn't work out. But in some cases, some people marry fast and it's the best thing they've ever done. They die happy. So in that case, which advice do you take? Someone else's experience may not be our own, and how we grow in wisdom and It's through our own experiences. Now, that's different for somebody saying, hey, do not kill. There are laws of human nature. There are commandments, even in the Bible, I believe that, like lying, killing, stealing from people. There are terrible consequences of any of these things, adultery, etc., right? So therefore, if someone gives you advice on morality in regards to those things, that's different than someone telling you which path to take with your career choices or how to dress, etc., for your specific style, etc., how to be, there are circumstances, again, that I, of course, use discernment. We're emotionally intelligent and we're emotionally mature to know when advice should be taken, but we're also aware of when we should not take some advice. And there are some things we just shouldn't. Like, I take advice from some parents when I have my future kids that I saw how well they raised their kids. I'm going to take advice from you. Hey, I shouldn't scream at my kids in the house. I'm going to take that advice because I see the consequences over time. It never ends well. It's never good on the psyche of any person to grow up in an abusive home. So therefore, I will not make my home abusive. That is different. We can look through history. We can look through main experiences. Those are different. In terms of marriage, career paths, only you know what your passions are. Only you know, what will make you happy to be doing for the rest of your life, etc. And everybody else is living for the first time. So take their advice with a grain of salt. Go out there and make your own path with God. Number 7 is seek to be the influencer and not the influenced, okay? A lot of people follow trends, especially with social media. Like, trends come and go, right? And people are being so easily influenced, which comes with the concept of influencer, etc. And people just want to follow trends. They want to do what's hot now or what's whatever now. Be and strive to be the one constantly influencing. And when you're the one influencing, you know that you're 100% authentically yourself and no one is putting their imprint on you and you're not somebody else. You have your own identity, right? But not only that, the influencers of this life are the ones that make it big, that make a lasting impact, that is remembered. How many people that just was the followers you remember? Like, okay, we remember the greatest scholars and Alexander the Great and all of these people, right? We remember them. They're going to go down in history because they were influencing people. A lot of people like Machiavelli, they write books on this man. He was a terrible person with some terrible tactics, right? But he's going to be talked about for years to come because he was the influencer. He was the one teaching. I believe today one of our modern day philosophers, I consider him a philosopher, is Robert Greene. And people will be talking about him for years to come. He's the influencer. He's not the one getting influenced. You get what I'm saying? So seek to be that in your society, to give to society, and not to always just be the person. Because I guarantee you, whoever Machiavelli was influencing, no one remembers him. No one remembers Plato's students. Well, some of them came on to be famous or whatever. But there's some students in there that was just soaking in the knowledge, but that's all they were doing was soaking in the knowledge, being influenced, but wasn't being the influencer, if that makes sense. So strive to be that. It's really going to transform you because once you're the influencer, you dress how you want to dress. You do your hair how you want to do your hair. You cut it how you want to cut it. You style yourself your way. You be yourself authentically without the imprint of anyone else. People are drawn to that. People with no identities are always drawn to people who have identities. And you don't want to be the one without the identity that is drawn to someone with an identity. This is the whole psychology of stans and super fans, etc. One day I could do a video on that, but I just don't want to get dragged. Maybe if y'all want that. But to break down their psychology, but they're usually people with no identity. And they need someone, they make whoever their faves are, their whole identity, their whole life surrounds around that person. And usually stans, the only way they can break out of it and you see them become normal is once they start to have their own identities. They grow up, they mature, they start to, but usually stans are children, right? And, stunted adults who didn't fully develop or grow, and that stays in that childlike stance. But the minute those children tend to grow out of it, they're no longer stans. That's what I mean by that. Number 8 is focus on your quality of friends and not the quantity of friends. Now, this is Auntie Kareen talking to you. Yes, I'm probably old enough to be your auntie. Okay, don't play. But listen, I used to be worried about how many friends I have. I wanted a room full of friends. I was naive in that way. But I found out that no, it's about the quantity. I can have 2, 3 good friends, but I know without a shadow of a doubt that they will be there for me. They will support me. They will encourage me. They will speak life into me. They will push me beyond my full potential, vice versa. I will do the same for them versus friends that was just there for a good time. That was just there to use me. That didn't necessarily care about me. That liked the essence or the thought of me or the aesthetic of me, Or yeah, it's better to just have those quality friends that's going to push you and get you to where you're going to be. Like you have Solomon, for instance, in the Bible. How many concubines did he have and wives? He didn't have that one quality woman, right? Not one. Not one. And if you look at someone like Abraham, Sarah was it for him. He didn't even want Hagar. Sarah kept pushing him towards Hagar because of the kids, but he had a quality woman and stayed in that relationship. That's what that did for Solomon. He was depressed. Woman was his downfall in essence. Quality over quantity. A lot of men that are sleeping around promiscuous and even women that do this, a lot of them are very depressed. It's just a fact of it. You want someone that's going to love you, care for you, defend you, protect you, be there for you, instead of a whole bunch of people that surround you that's showing love but have no quality for you. Okay. Number 9 is you go much further when you stop being a victim and learn to forgive those around you. We carry around when we don't want to forgive people, whether it's our parents, our families, our friends, whoever it is, we carry a heaviness. It shows up on our faces when we're like this, right? So I found out that we definitely are a lot lighter when we find it easier to forgive. Forgive your parents. Forgive your siblings. Forgive your friends. Forgive your childhood. Forgive yourself. Okay? Stop blaming them. And I'm not saying but no, you're not a victim. And what I mean by that is you're a conqueror. You're a conqueror. That changes a lot. The day you say, I'm not a victim of this. This happened to me, but this is not my full story. There's more to me than just this happening. I'm going to forgive for myself. Forgiveness truly is for yourself first. And you're going to see how light you are. It's almost unrecognizable. I realized even in some older videos, I couldn't even stomach to keep them up. Just how depressed and down and this, even though I'm talking about a happy subject, my eyes were like, but I was not happy, and it was just a lot you holding in. You're not forgiving, you're not letting go. But there's literally a transformation where people are just like, wow, you seem so much lighter. You're so, I'm chill, I'm mellow. I don't hold nobody in my heart. I let it go and I give it to God. Like, it is what it is. And the minute you do that, you will set yourself free. So forgive others, okay? 10 is take responsibility for yourself. Take accountability for yourself. Only you can take accountability for yourself. It's nobody's job to come save you. Only God can save. And God even requires that we take some accountability in ourselves, okay? We have to be responsible people. And part of being responsible is owning up to where you could be better, where you made mistakes, etc. It's very difficult, easier said than done, to tell somebody to take accountability or responsibility for themselves. But once you do that, you make less mistakes. I found that the more I blamed others for things that were going on in my life and I wasn't being responsible, I found that I made more mistakes because I can just use other people as scapegoat. But when I started to really hold my feet to the fire and be like, Corinne, you were wrong, blah, 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 blah. When you did, guess what? I don't like that feeling of having to admit that to myself. It forced me and encouraged me to do better, because I'm holding myself accountable. A lot of you guys need mentors or you need accountability partners. Be that for yourself. Be that for yourself first, and you have it in you. You don't need to go pay people hundreds of dollars to be your mentors or accountability partners. Pray about it because you have it already in you. Trust that, okay? And hold yourself accountable. Number 11 is be around people that are success-driven, money-driven, spiritually driven, and mentally free. Okay? Let your circle be a positive influence around. be around positive influences. Who you are really affects you. You start to talk like them, have their lingo, little inside jokes, lingo. You start to dress like them, makeup, maybe eat like them because you're frequenting the same restaurants. It's so easy to be influenced by our circle. If everyone around you, like when I was in college, the friends that I had that would constantly study made it fun to study. To the point we used to have study dates and study parties, and it was fun, and we were just studying and doing great. But when I was around my lit friends, I didn't want to study. I didn't want to study. Who is the next party? Where's this and that? So who you have around you matters. If you're around people that's all about their money, their business, they're not going to want to waste your time. They're not going to want to spend 2-3 hours on the phone with you talking about nothing. They know you got to work, and because they got to work. They're all doing something with their lives. But if you're with people that's not doing nothing with their lives, it's going to start to rub off on you because they're going to need you to come entertain them, have fun with them, not take what you're doing seriously, etc. But someone who's about that life gets it and will not try to steer you away from it. Last is, of course, prayer. I'm a strong believer in prayer is going to elevate you because it leads you into all things, okay? Now, if this one wasn't a bonus for you, because if this one wasn't it for you, because maybe you don't believe in God or whatever spiritual journey you're on, I pray that you can use that as a source to propel you into positivity. I hope it's positive. I hope it has a positive influence on you. I hope it motivates you and it pushes you to your next potential. Because listen, prayer is all we need. But this is all I have for this video. I love this video so much. Comment below any more additional tips that you guys have, and I will see you guys on the next one.